education. What's wrong? Rubbish music. You'll be like, how dare you? Oh, you know.
இது பாருங்க தெரியுதுங்களா? இது வந்து சங்குப்பூங்க.
Everything good for
சங்குப்பூ பத்தி ஆல்ரெடி நம்ம வீடியோ போட்டுருப்போம். ஒரு தோட்டத்துல சங்குப்பூ பாத்தீங்க.
No.
இவரு சங்குப்பூவை பத்தி இவரும் ஒரு வீடியோ போட்டிருப்பாரு. அந்த வீடியோ வந்து அவருடைய இன்ஸ்டாகிராம்ல இருக்கும். பாருங்க.
So has the Kandari chili, the bird's eye chili. It also has this Burmese giant lady's finger. Sir, kosigade dive senji because I can't compromise my things, you know. This is the giant Burmese lady's finger. It has a lot of other varieties of lady's finger. It even has manjal in here. This is actually the kasturi manjal. It has different types of brinjal. This one is the big white round one with the like a topi mari irke mela. And then you have moringa kere, you have passion fruit, you have bananas. Na papa, inaichi unaga. Inaichi sulle. Tugunma. Vana, apa kita ponga. Nah. Vama, give her some manatakali, maybe she will enjoy. Amma kita ponma. Papa pavam da. Anyway, so there's a lot of diversity in these fields, and this is what natural farming looks like. You're trying to maximize the crops according to physiological difference and time duration. I'm really happy with a field like this. It goes like there's many times where I'm telling it and it's not quite there, but this is quite there. You have plants that are really covering, and this has been there for months. This Manatakali has fed hundreds of people, literally, and the berries. And people in the kitchen have gone, oh, that's Manatakali. That's an education. What's wrong? Don't worry. There's nothing here to bother you, you know. So that's also a profit, you know. It's a cultural profit, the education. And many of these plants, they're like perennial. They'll stay there for a long time in the field. So as you walk through the fields and you hear my narrative, I think it's quite clear. We have a treasure trove of nutritional value, and we have turned our backs on it. And we eat all these foods from industrialized agriculture. So of course we have climate change. Of course there's diabetes. Of course when you walk down the street in Chennai now and you look people, they won't look you in the eye. But you go in village, still people say, innapa, vanga okaringa, tea saapidinga. The first thing a Tamilian will ask you is, did you eat, you know? That warmth, that's because there's a culture. You know, that's because there's still a relationship to the earth in many ways, you know. But the more we go towards, you know, materialistic and the industrialized corporate lifestyle, this all gets forgotten. Why? Because the only value is this: what phone you have, what car you have, what's your bank balance. But then after 50 years you have to spend everything in Apollo for heart surgery. Appo enna use there? Purida. So when you look at this, you start to see that, hang on, you know, Krishna, that's really nice, man, what you've done. Good, clap on the back, man. Solitude, great. I love the videos, everything. But how are you going to take it out into the world? How do we bring this forward? So farm to plate is the vehicle for that, you know. And guys, chill out, man. This is one ant and everyone is like up in arms. Guys, relax. You are lucky. It's ants, lizards, even if it's a snake, relax. Sorry, I'm not mocking you, but it's funny. Anyway, so the ways to bring it forward, and I have been engaged, I've tried to bring this to the society in a number of ways. One way is I see corporates having a big role in this work. So I've been working with a corporate in Chennai where they gave me 5 acres of land and they said, make me a farm and make me a restaurant, a farm to plate. I say, okay, no problem. But forget the restaurant, start with your canteen. Already you're feeding 50 people every day. Just start with that. Let's keep it simple. Within 3 months, 700 kilos of produce. all their own cucumber, bottle gourd, pumpkin, brinjal, tomatoes. It was amazing. Can you imagine? You come to do the work at that place, and lunchtime you get all this food which is fresh. It was a game changer for them. So that's one project that was very, very inspiring as an illustration to other corporates who have money. They have land, they have resources, they even have very clever people who've read all the books, you know, and watched all the videos and the PDFs, you know. But to do it, you know, it has to get to your mouth. Without that, it's all just blah blah, you know. Another project that I'm engaged in, it hasn't actually happened yet, is working with a major airline company. So you look at the domestic flights. You know, I went on one recently. Finished recording my new album in Hyderabad. So Chennai to Hyderabad, super flight. I was very impressed. Food was wholemeal bread and cheddar cheese. I said, what's that got to do with India? And then I had the idea, hang on, when you go to the booking, why can't you click local food, and then you sit on the flight and they serve you gongura tovil with a ragi roti and a bit of this, and everyone's on the flight going, machan, nambur sabadam, ba, super ga. It's a reclamation of cultural identity. You're supporting the farmers simply by telling them, grow what easy to grow for you. You know, you don't need tractors, chemicals, drip irrigations controlled by internet and all that. It just grows without effort. Those are the foods of our, you know, the foundation of culture. Why can't those be on flight? If you have that gongora thing, you'll go, you know, and your, you know, grandma makes it, you'll be a party. There's nothing like your food, you know, simply because it has a value, because it comes from the land, you know, where we know where it comes from. But I would say by far the best way we could, you know, reclaim this knowledge is through the midday meal scheme. So India has the free lunch for all the government schools. And if you imagine that we were all on that midday meal scheme, you know, for say, you know, 5, 6, 10 years, you know, at the end of that time when we're going to graduate, leave that school, Ponangani Kiri is normal for us. Manatakali is normal for us, you know. Valatande, all of these things, Sundakai, is normal for us. It's what we've been eating, you know, at the lunch every day. And you see, what's the takeaway of that, you know? The takeaway is that we address lifestyle diseases. In one generation, diabetes is gone. It's stopped. We show a statistic for climate change. Maybe you can't stop climate change only by that, but sure there'll be a statistic, you know. And then most importantly, and I would say this is really what I want to share with people, is the cultural aspect, is that we have a common value. You see, you like hip hop. I like Hindustani classical, you're rubbish music. You'll be like, how dare you? Oh, you know, you're a vegan, I eat meat. And you'll say, how dare you eat meat? I say, who are you to tell me? We start fighting. You like Jai Krishna Mackenzie, I like Sai Baba. I say, Krishna Mackenzie is a fool. You know, you give me a slap. We'll fight for concepts, opinions, beliefs and ideologies. But you put the moringa kere soup between us, we'll both go, you know. So the local food is the lowest common denominator in our society. It is the cultural identity. The knowledge of how to use these foods is the precursor to a civilization. And that's what we're demonstrating at Solitude. So I imagine in 20 kilometers radius, or, you know, whatever diameter, whatever, 20 so farms like Solitude. This farm produces between 8 and 10 tons of food per year in 5 acres, you know, which is a huge amount of food. As I said, most of it you wouldn't be able to sell in the shop, in the market, you know, or for a very, you know, minimal amount. But on farm to plate, it has an incredible profit. You know, we're giving a lot of money back to Auroville, because in Auroville we have to give 33% of our profit back to Auroville, and you know, it's given with pride from us that from these edible weeds and different plants we're able to participate in the financial running of Auroville. But you see, I always tell people, you know, you look at Indians. Like, I have some friends, they're from MIT, IIT, you know, another one who had the highest IQ in New Jersey as a child. Man, Indians are smart. You know, they're running NASA in the White House. This is not about being clever. This is simply logistics. How do you organize this? How do you communicate? Value your culture simply. Value simply your culture. Let's come together and make this happen. It requires a shift in values, a shift from individualistic value to collective value. Because if you're not well, at the end of the day, I'll never be well. You know? You think Israel gonna be well, isolating itself? It's finished. It's impossible for one person to be well at the expense of another. So collectivity is very important. Guys, what is there? Crocodile? Dinosaur? So that's what we're trying to show in Solitude Farm, simply honoring the gifts of Mother Nature. Guys, there's one last stop. We'll be there and we'll wrap this up.